And we should be live. Great.
That's what it says.
All right. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our first BronyCon virtual career fair. We are trying to do a little something different tonight to try and engage our community of people. Um, and so, I understand that there's a lot of anxieties when applying for staff. I know personally I had a lot like, am I going to be able to still enjoy the convention? Is it going to be too much work? Why do people do this? So we're just trying to get our faces out there to you guys and answer any potential questions that you might have. Or, sometimes people feel like they want to help, but they aren't skilled enough to help. So we want to dispel some of those myths and also just get you used to what we are. My name is Tim Starr. I am the Deputy Head of Public Relations, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. First of all, I want to introduce our panel tonight, though. So we will start off with Shutterspeed, our Head of Public Relations. Shutterspeed, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what your department does.
Hi, it's good to meet you. I'm Josh. I go by Shutterspeed. You'll have to excuse my lack of a lower third. I am running from the main account here, and it won't let me. But I, as Tim said, am the head of public relations. Our department is responsible for all of the forward-facing aspects of the convention. We handle advertising. We handle media relations. Social media is handled by us. And so we have a pretty diverse team. We're one of the smallest departments. But we still are looking to staff. If you're interested in that sort of thing, we would love to hear from you.
Can you tell us a little bit more about what public relations encompasses?
Like I said, we cover all the forward-facing aspects. We handle the charity. We have a sub-department specifically for that. We also, the info booths and the info list, if you've ever emailed info@BronyCon, we handle that. Our department works with everyone else to try and get you the answer as fast as possible. Our media outreach, or media relations sub-department, we deal with press conferences with VIPs at the event, and prior to that, we handle all of the applications for press and all of the needs that they might have prior. Marketing, of course, is pretty well self-explanatory. We handle all of the marketing aspects of our local marketing, and then online, of course, and then social media. We have two individuals right now who work on it. We potentially are looking at adding a third. Everything you see on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr comes from them, except for the Ask blog, which, of course, is a byproduct of our design team, who will also speak tonight.
All right, thank you very much. And next on the panel, we have Rabbi, our head of security and our head of design. Rabbi, tell us a little bit about yourself, the departments you're representing.
Yeah, sure. So my name's Eli Morris Heft. I go by Rabbi. I do a bunch of conventions throughout the year. BronyCon is one of the biggest, and it's the one that every year reminds me why I do conventions. One of my department's security. Our job is to make sure that everybody has a safe convention and they don't have to worry about it so that they can go on and have a fun convention. We help enforce the rules. We do a lot of line control, and we also act somewhat as a communications hub. Another big thing that security does is we provide medical care for attendees. So we have a team of EMTs who are there in case somebody needs a bandage or an ice pack, or in case something more serious happens. And actually, we want to expand that team a little bit this year, and we're particularly looking for medics, and particularly female medics, which are hard to get at any convention. My other department, design, which my wonderful deputy, Fall Feathers, is here to help me out with. We do all of the art, all of the signs, the program book, the badges. We even do stuff like the lanyards and the maps, and all of the announcement art that you all see, the Ask blog that's on the Tumblr. If it was drawn or designed, then it was done by our wonderful art team. We've got a bunch of artists and some designers and an incredibly skilled web developer who helps us out to make that happen. So that's security and that's design.
All right, thank you very much. And next on our panel, we have Spring Hope. Spring Hope, the head of events, tell us a little bit about yourself and your department.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay, I was having trouble with my webcam, which is why I do not have a face. But I'm Jenna O'Connell, also known as Spring Hope, head of events. Rachel, my deputy, is also on the call. We really encompass all of the programming and all of the AV needs for the convention. So that's like working with the panelists to plan their panels and working on the schedule to get all the panels together, and then also all of the people who are in the event rooms, making sure they sound and look good, making sure the projectors work, making sure all the equipment is working fine, all of that stuff. If you know how to do AV, you know how to do it. So I'm not going to go into the details, but I guess a lot of people would find it appealing because we work with all the panelists and we get to plan all the event rooms, which is kind of exciting. So really everything you do there, and BronyPalooza. So BronyPalooza is us too. So all of the things you see, most of them are events. We're looking for a few more people to work with panelists and a few more for specifically some of our event rooms, like our gallery and things like that. But if you're interested in anything, apply, because we have positions open all over the place.
All right, thank you very much. And next on our panel is Deputy of VIP Relations, we call it Viper. Infinite Pony, tell us a little bit about yourself and your department.
Hey guys, I'm Jeremy Stubbs, or as Tim called me, Infinite Pony. That's what I go by in the chats and such. I am the Deputy of VIP Relations, and what we do over in VIP Relations, we work directly with the VIPs in multiple different ways, whether that's as direct handlers, which are the liaison between the VIP Relations Department, and the convention as a whole, or with green room staff, which the green room, for those of you not familiar with that term, because I wasn't before I started working here, it's the place where VIPs can go to get away from the con, because lots of people all at the same time, all like, oh my gosh! For those people, it's overpowering, so they like to go to a place that's kind of devoid of that, stress-free. Green room staff helps keep that place clean and stocked and all that stuff. And then we also have autographs, because everybody knows going to a convention you want those VIPs autographs, so we have staff that helps run the whole autograph process. And then finally, our VIP logistics department is the one that helps manage all of Viper itself, because otherwise we'd be running around like chickens with our heads cut off. So that's what we do over in Viper a little bit.
All right, thank you very much. And next down the line on the panel is our con chair, Josh Dean. Josh Dean, you almost present yourself, but tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, I'm Josh Dean. A lot of people call me on Twitter, I'm Josh Dean. I am the chairman of BronyCon. I basically oversee all the departments that you see here today, as well as many more. I also deal with liaising with the venue, the city of Baltimore, as well as many of our hotels.
All right, thank you very much. And moving on down the panel is Crystallized, Rachel, with events. Rachel, tell us a little bit about yourself and your department.
Well, Jenna kind of covered my department, didn't she?
Yeah, she covered your department, but, explain what a deputy is.
Okay. There was already a deputy, though.
I know.
I'm here to harass you.
Make her be layouts, Rachel.
I can be layouts, Rachel.
Be layouts, Rachel.
Okay. Hi guys. I'm Rachel, aka Crystallized, and I think I'm the person on this panel with the longest consecutive amount of time as a BronyCon staffer. I think I beat Rabbi by like a week in terms of consecutive time, which is pretty cool. I'm also in charge of, I'm the deputy of events, as was covered already, and as the deputy I kind of assist Jenna with whatever she needs me to assist her with, and I'm also the, whatever I am in relation to layout goes back and
Okay, I think we're losing you, Rachel.
So a normal night for her on a Google Hangout.
All right, well, we're going to move on to Troy now. Troy, you're with finance. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your department.
Hello, everyone. I'm Troy Smith, aka Hardwire. I am the deputy of the finance, and as well as the console manager. Finance in general handles all the payments of BronyCon for all the staff, from VIP acquisitions and invoices, paying for the hotels and whatnot. And also, we do manage the con store and all the con store swag that we sell at the convention, thanks to our design team, who helps a lot with that. And also with VIP voucher autographs. So we're also running that table as well. And what I'm looking for is that we need some staffers for those tables.
All right, thank you. And the last on our panel is Fall Feathers with design. Fall Feathers, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey guys, I'm William, aka Four Feathers. I'm deputy design here at BronyCon. You have to excuse me because I'm the one of two staffers who lives in Australia, and therefore it's still early morning for me. So, okay. So the position of a deputy is basically to get things that slip through the cracks of our department heads. Usually, for example, in the design department, my role as a deputy isn't so much as handling art itself. But when say for example, a task isn't being chased up properly, or something happens to one of the staff, it means that they can't continue on they're having trouble continuing one of their work, then it's my job to basically take that information straight to Rabbi over there, who's also the head of design. And yeah, that's basically my role. Design, usually we don't hire during a year, but after every con cycle, we always have a hiring burst to get more artists on board. We're always interested in hearing from artists who want to get on board with design during those times. And we do put out a call on social media when that happens. Okay, I think that's it.
All right, thank you very much. And before we start diving into this and taking questions, I just want to preface this with BronyCon is a convention that will be taking place August 1st through 3rd. And in order to apply for staff, you need to be 18 or older by the time that the convention starts. I believe Gopher Squad has a few different requirements, but can anyone weigh in on Gopher Squad?
I would direct people to BronyCon.org. There's a subsection on there. I don't know offhand because ConOps isn't here. But they can find everything they need to know about Gopher Squad on there.
Yeah, but in general, for staff, which is what we're mostly talking about tonight, you need to be 18 or older by the time the convention starts. And with that, I was going to start off asking the panelists some questions, but I got a great question that came in from Timothy Marone. Once applying to staff, how long till you hear back? And I think this is going to vary from department to department, so Shutter Speed, if you want to jump in on that, and then we'll just go down the line for departments represented tonight.
Yes. For us, it is typically about a 2 to 3 week turnaround. We are still very much a department that is in the works and reshaping and shifting our sort of modus operandi every day. So right now we do have a little bit of a backlog. You should hear back from PR if you've already applied in the next week or so. If you apply tonight, it might be a week or so. We do have a lot of volume of applicants and not necessarily a lot of positions, but it will not be all that long to turn around, hopefully.
All right, and Eli with security and design.
For design, usually we get together within a week or so of our hiring push, and if we have an artist that we like, then we'll send them an invitation. We also are looking for an additional web developer because our current web developer is awesome, but she also has a real job and sometimes doesn't have time. So for that, if you do have the skills and you want to send that in, we'll get back to you in about a week. As for security, we try to have about a week turnaround. What happens is every person on security goes through an interview, and I know that a lot of other departments do interviews as well. You fill out the application, and then we set up interview slots and send out a link to everybody who hasn't been interviewed yet. You sign up for an interview, and usually it's within the next week that those slots are. We get you the interview, and then we get together and talk about all of the interviews during our weekly meeting. So it's usually a pretty quick turnaround. If you are waiting to hear back from security, by the way, I know that our email has had a couple of glitches when it comes to Hotmail accounts in particular. It tend to get sorted into the spam folder. So you may want to check your spam folder, and if you are waiting to hear back from security or any other department, you can always email in. We're security@BronyCon.org, and all the other departments are whatever the department name is at BronyCon.org.
And just really quick on that note, if you don't know what department to email about your application, just send it through our normal submission form, which is also info@BronyCon.org, and they will make sure that it gets forwarded to the proper department. All right, Jenna, for events, how long is the turnaround usually on that?
Ours is varying. We usually hire in huge chunks just because that's the way me and Rachel have time to do it.
It really depends on how stressed we are.
Yes. So if you happen to apply right after we just hired a bunch of people in maybe quite a few weeks, if you happen to apply right before we're about to do a bunch of interviews, it could be like 2 days. So it really just depends. If you're wondering if we've gotten your application or anything like that, I would suggest emailing us at events@BronyCon.org, and we'll be able to respond to you. But our hiring process is just like security. It sounds like we do a interview, and then we get back to you in a couple weeks. So yeah.
All right, thank you. And Jeremy with VIP Relations. Sorry, I keep wanting to call it Viper. How long is the turnaround on that?
For us, it honestly, we try to have it at the very absolute maximum. We have a 2-week turnaround time, but it does vary from sub-department to sub-department because VIP Relations is broken into those sub-departments I mentioned earlier, and the managers of those, rather than having myself and the head of VIP Relations take care of all the interviews, we let our sub-departmental managers take care of it. So it depends on them, on their schedules, their life, because a lot of them also work real jobs and stuff like that. So, but usually at most it'll be a 2-week turnaround time.
Okay, and just really quickly, what were those sub-departments again? We may have had people join since beginning.
The sub-departments are handlers, which are the direct liaisons with the VIPs, green room staff, which help run the green room, autographs, which helps run the whole autograph process of the autograph room, logistics, and that's it. Yeah.
All right, thank you. And Troy, with finance, what's the expected turnaround usually?
The expected turnaround for applying for the con store is most of the times I generally go through my applications every Sunday and generally have a response letter within that week. So it's about a week and a half turnaround to get that email out to you to apply for an interview slot for that.
All right, thank you. And just as you see, the turnaround time can really vary depending on department. So if you have any questions at all, don't be afraid to send us an email and just ask on the status of your application. Moving along to the next question, we've got another one that just came in, which is, what kind of position would you... Okay, let me rephrase this. So, say you're a jack of all trades, but a master of none. What department would be best for you? Josh, I'm actually going to field this to you directly.
All right.
Because I love you, don't worry.
Well,
I want to pitch in when he's done.
That's fine. Well, I guess it kind of all really depends. If you want to kind of like just come to the convention and not necessarily work it, but kind of help out a little bit, you can be a gopher. which is a good spot for people who, jack of all trades, master of none. Typically they're needed for various duties by various departments. Otherwise, I might field you to ConOps personally, because they have a lot of staffing needs that need general ability without anything specific.
Yeah.
Rachel, you had something you wanted to add?
Yeah, because I generally consider myself a jack of all trades, but a master of none. Definitely a master of none. And I'm in events, obviously, but I wasn't always in events. I started in AV, and that's why I'm here, because my actual training is in AV. But I would actually probably either agree with Josh on ConOps, because ConOps requires a lot of different roles and a lot of different skills, and you get to actually use all those different skills while working at ConOps. Or actually, not to, be biased, but there's a lot of different things you get to do in events.
That's
What?
As the head of events, I would also suggest registration.
Or security, even. Security has like a crap ton of different jobs there, and security, you're going to be running around really filling in wherever they need people.
Ton of awesome stuff for events, but really every department, I feel like, has
Yeah,
something to
actually.
do.
Yeah, and just really quickly on
Roll a
ConOps,
die.
since they're not represented tonight, they handle a lot of the logistics for the convention, like making sure that there's hotels for staffers, the radio communications, HR issues, and also making sure that there's food supplied for people that are volunteering for the convention. They handle a few other odds and ends types things, so that's kind of why we're all kind of saying they're a good jack of all trades position.
Although, Tim, if they're a jack of all trades but master of none, perhaps they could head up a Christianity department.
Maybe.
Yeah.
That was a bad pun.
Get out.
You should feel bad. I do want to throw in a thing for registration, though. If you feel like you're a jack of all trades, it doesn't happen often, but registration, every once in a while you'll have somebody come up and have something really weird that you'll kind of need to figure out what to do about. And so if you consider yourself that kind of very diverse and resourceful, quick-thinking person, I know that Reg has a lot of staff to fill this year at the expense of my own department. You should just take a look at all of the descriptions and see if there's one that catches your eye.
Okay, and I've got another question that just came in from the same person as a follow-up. Can you apply for more than one position? The answer is yes on that. And if there's a comment field on the application, it's good to just go ahead and put that in. But we keep communication between all of us on who has applied, just see who wants them. So don't feel limited to just one position. Go ahead and apply to as many as you want.
Well, we try.
Well, we try, yeah.
Put it in. If you're applying for multiple positions, let us know so that we can make sure that we're aware. Because some things have come up in the past where people have applied to multiple positions, and it's just kind of slipped through the cracks. And they've ended up getting offers from both departments, and it's been kind of messy. So...
You guys are important to us. We fight over you.
We do.
We really do.
It's also important to note that, while even if you might not apply to multiple positions, we do keep you on file, and if we feel that you might not fit a specific position, but you might do well in another position, we do kind of keep that in mind and potentially send you to another department for a potential interview.
Yeah, I think, didn't Jenna and I...
Yeah, we sent someone to PR because they were interested in photography. Yeah, we sent someone to PR for photography because they needed a staff photographer, and we were like, wow, you'll be great for that. So it happens.
Yep. All right, thank you very much. And another question, Rabbi, I'm sure you'll be stoked to hear this one. If you're applying to be a volunteer as an EMT, what training is needed for that? What are we looking for EMTs?
Well, the obvious and slightly snarky answer is that you would need to be certified as an EMT. But it is actually slightly more complicated than that. If you are a Maryland resident, you'll get certified as a Maryland EMT, and Maryland, for whatever reason, does not recognize the nationally registered EMTs. But stay tuned if you're not a Maryland resident. If you aren't, if you're in a state that recognizes NREMT as the nationally registered certification is called, Maryland lets you practice as long as you're being supervised by a Maryland certified EMT. So if you are nationally registered, that is okay. We have enough Maryland EMTs already, in our ranks that we can fill the rest within our EMTs. And of course, if there are any nurses or paramedics out there, which is like way above and beyond, we're happy to have those too.
All right, thank you very much. And we've got another question that came in that I'll just go ahead and answer. Do interviews need to be done in person, or can they be done over Skype? We actually do most of our interviews over Skype, phone, or Google Hangouts. So as long as you have one of those options available, just be sure that you have that and mark that on your application. Most of the applications that I've looked at request what way can we contact you. Right?
Rachel has a hand raised.
Rachel, go ahead.
Come on. I'm gonna. There was something really not nice that I was about to say. Yeah, each department, I think, I've found at least, does it a little differently. So some use Skype, some use Hangout, some do text-based things. Some people did AIM last year, or AOL Instant Messenger, which was weird. But yeah, it's pretty much each department's different, and you'll probably find out when you apply or when you get asked to do your interview. I don't think anyone's ever done an in-person interview. Well, I haven't, at least.
Yeah. And I know PR hasn't done any in-person interviews, so don't worry about that. You don't have to be a local to Baltimore to apply for staff.
Both of my departments have actually done in-person interviews, but we usually do them over the phone.
Okay. So you do in-person over the phone?
I mean, we have done in-person interviews.
Okay.
The artist thing in particular. If I see somebody at a convention, I'm gonna go talk to them.
All right. Thank you.
Well, and I mean, it's like earlier mentioned for design. Eli over there is out in the Midwest, whereas his deputy is in Australia. So.
Mm-hmm. And PR in the past has had people in both France and Japan. So don't let country scare you away from applying to staff. And,
who did you guys have in Japan?
I could have sworn we had somebody out there right when I joined, and then they kind of disappeared. I can't remember their name.
That was design.
Former head of design.
Okay, I couldn't remember. That's so long ago.
Jeez, get your BronyCon history straight,
I'm
man.
sorry. That was right when I was hired. Okay. Anyways, just a really quick recap on what this is about. This is about applying for staff, so questions like, will so-and-so be coming to the convention as a guest?
Maybe.
We can't comment on that right now. That's a maybe. Yes. And with relating to staff, we don't have any questions right now, so I actually have some questions for the panelists.
Well, hang on. This person has a really important question here.
I see it too. It's very important.
Okay.
Do you play Plants vs. Zombies 2? And the answer
yes.
and the answer is yes, a little
No.
bit. But
No,
I don't.
no.
I can't stand the freemium model. I just
The
play the
freemium model is
original.
awful, and the first one is so much better.
The
So
first one
much
was better.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the first one.
But I
See-
will play all Plants vs. Zombies. I play it on Xbox. I play it on my phone. I'm obsessed.
Look, the real question is, if you're playing Plants vs. Zombies, why aren't you playing Cut the Rope? I mean, there's a game to
Cut the Rope is better. Cut the Rope is so good. I've beaten Cut the Rope 3 times.
Oh, have you played Cut the Rope too?
Let's cut the rope.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Science?
Cut the Rope. It's like a physics.
Cut the Rope science experiments, time traveling.
Let's cut the rope.
Cut the Rope is an iOS and I think an Android game where basically you have this little monster named Omnom. And the goal is to not only
I have a
have him eat a piece of candy by cutting the rope that the candy is on, but also gathering 3 stars as you cut the rope. The real neat thing about it...
You'd like it, Rachel.
You really
Okay,
would.
is it free?
Oh, God.
Yeah.
No. It's $1.
You can get it for free on Android.
Okay, so I guess I just didn't see that in part because I don't play Plants vs Zombies. I'm sorry.
Look what happens when you leave the important questions out.
I know. Well, we've got another important question for Eli. Would there be any problem with a wheelchair user being a member of security?
Absolutely not. Whether you are incredibly mobile in your wheelchair or you're not so mobile, we do have some administrative positions, and some like our dispatch department stays relatively stationary. But if you are mobile and can get your way around the convention, I have no problem putting you on line control or rules enforcement or our special events team. I'd actually be really happy to have people of all abilities on my staff, and I know that that goes for every other department as well.
Thank you very much. And this is a question for everyone on the panel tonight. So we'll start with Josh Brems, not Josh Dean. Working a convention can be kind of a daunting thing because you don't know if there's going to be a lot of responsibilities and you can't enjoy the convention. So why do you work for conventions? What do you find appealing about it?
I originally started it because it was a chance for me to do something that I didn't normally have a chance to do. I'm a journalism major with a photojournalism concentration, and so I had classes in PR and that sort of thing, but I never really had a chance to work on that side of it. So it was a really cool opportunity for me to get to do something a little bit out of my comfort zone. And that's why I came. I stayed because there's so many awesome people on staff. I never thought that I would meet as many people and end up being legitimate friends with so many people just from working BronyCon staff. It's pretty incredible.
All right, thank you.
But Josh, you didn't come for PR. Don't lie to
That
the
is true, but before I staffed BronyCon, was working PR for another convention that we won't mention, and then I got hired by AV, and then went to PR.
All right, and before we continue down the panel, we've got a really important question. How do I apply? You can go to BronyCon.org, and we have a volunteer section. Let me quickly check on where that's at. It's kind of buried under there. You have to go to the About section, and under a submenu, hit Volunteer, and that takes you to our staff page. Or if you want to just type it out, it's BronyCon.org/about/volunteer. BronyCon.org/about/volunteer. That's where you can find all of our
social media
applications.
people. If you want to post that, I would appreciate it.
Yes, I believe Jose said he would be watching, so please tweet that. And I'm going down the panel for why you work conventions. Eli, you've been working quite a few cons. Why do you do it?
Because some people, my sort of stock answer for this is some people write fic, and some people draw awesome pictures, and some people, make really cool music, and my special talent is none of those things, but I can give back to the fandom by helping give people a place to come together and celebrate something that they have in common. And I feel really, really passionately about that. It's one of the reasons why I do a bunch of conventions during the year. And it just being able to give back, being able to make sure that something like this continues to happen, not just in my department, but sort of in general, is my motivation for staffing conventions and staffing BronyCon.
Yeah, and we just had a question coming in about would working other cons conflict with working BronyCon, and you working for ASEN and various other conventions. I feel you're very qualified to answer this question, Eli.
Yeah, it would be incredibly hypocritical if that was to create a conflict. Not only would I have to fire about half of my managers, but maybe a good quarter or fifth of my staff if that were suddenly to be a policy. And of course, I would get the axe as well. So absolutely not. As long as you can keep different headspaces for the different conventions, then everything is okie doke.
All right, thank you very much. And there have been a few questions that have trickled in regarding staff benefits, so I want to go ahead and take an aside to have Josh Dean answer that. I would have fielded that to ConOps, but they're not here tonight. So Josh Dean, what are the staff benefits for working for BronyCon?
You mean outside of working for BronyCon? Because I feel like that's a great benefit.
I agree.
I'm just kidding. We actually do offer a lot of perks to our staff. We offer, obviously food. Feeding our staff is very important. You can't help run a convention that potentially is going to be in the 5 digits for attendees on an empty stomach. So food for all of our staff is a big and important thing. We're talking 2 to 3 meals a day. We also offer discounted hotel space at the tune of, I believe the number is $30 for the entirety of the convention, for you to basically get a cheap room with other staffers. We give you, obviously, we give you a free T-shirt. I want to say I feel like that's a given, but I know not everybody does that. And of course, you get your badge for free. And my favorite part is is you get the self-satisfaction of being able to put on such a large event.
All right, thank you. And this just came to me from our web admin. For those of you asking how to apply, we've got some short URLs out there, so you can just go to bronycon.org/staff or bronycon.org/joinstaff. bronycon.org/staff, that will bring you to the applications and descriptions of different departments. Now, going down the line, Jenna, why did you join staff? Why do you staff conventions? What's the appeal for you?
That's a hard one, but I went to BronyCon 2012 in June of 2012. That was my first convention ever, actually. I was just going as an attendee, and I kind of fell in love with the fandom, the convention scene, all sorts of stuff. So when the applications went up for 2013, I applied, and I got a position, and I've been working it ever since. I mean, the reason I do it is, similar to what Rabbi was saying, is I can't draw. I don't have time to write, and I probably couldn't write anyway, and all that. So I don't contribute to the fandom in any other way, and I want to. So I do this instead, and I think it's a pretty good thing to do. So, and it's fun. And I will say, looking at opening ceremonies from backstage last year, that makes everything worth it. And just seeing everyone so excited, that makes it 100% worth it. 600%.
Yes, I agree with that wholeheartedly. Rabbi, you were pointing down for a moment. Was that to me for something?
No, this is the sign for yes. I was agreeing.
Okay.
When you're on staff, you get to see these little things from a completely different point of view, and it just like, you turn a corner and you see like a family that's all cosplaying together, right? Or like you pass by a conversation where it's somebody's first convention and they're swearing that they will that they will come back every single year, or that they've met a new friend and it's a person that they're gonna talk to for forever. And those kinds of things that you see when you are staff really is the kind of thing that makes the long hours and all the planning and all the prep just absolutely worth it.
Oh no, I definitely agree wholeheartedly. I mean, I've been part of this fandom since January 2011, and when you've been involved with something for quite a while, you hit a burnout point. And when I'm working these conventions and just see the smiles and the relationships that are made at these conventions, or sometimes when I'm seeing people interacting with the show writers, and the show writers just express to them, they really do read tweets that come into them about personal issues or ways the show has inspired them, and just to see that transfer of inspiration to the attendees, just the smiles it brings, it's really exhilarating. So Now this is a question for registration, which we do not have represented tonight, but we'll try to answer it as best as we can. Approximately how much of the con would somebody working registration be able to see, and will they be able to work something out with someone else on registration staff to see certain panels and events they want? As far as I know, registration works in shifts. I believe you can work that out. Josh Dean, I see you nodding over there. You got something you want to add to that?
To my knowledge, my heads of registration, both Chev and Ziagu, who unfortunately could not be here, are working out a shift system for their staff. Much like the majority of my departments do at the convention. So that way their staff can enjoy some of the convention, and it's not just a 24/3 work around the clock system. So I would definitely expect registration to be doing that as well. Definitely.
Thank you. And going down the list of panelists tonight, Jeremy, why do you work for conventions? What's the appeal to you?
Well, unfortunately, both between Jenna and Eli, my thunder was kind of stolen because I first applied for the conventions because I can't art, I can't music. And so, but what I can do and what I have done all my life is I volunteer. I help out. And so I was like, well, what better to do it? And so I Googled BronyCon, found the volunteer page and said, which of these do I think I would like most? Picked the one that sounded most like me, and here I am as the deputy of VIP relations.
I want to pick on specifically you quickly for this because people are noting they can't do art, they can't write. So why do you feel compelled to do anything?
Well, to be fair,
I want to answer that after he's done.
Oh, I'll let you answer it, Rachel. Don't worry.
Well,
I've done research.
I'm compelled to do most things because I like to give back. That's what I do. I mean, I give back to my local community through volunteer service and multiple organizations all around. And BronyCon, part of the Brony community, I've really felt a need to give back. I mean, for those of you who know me outside of BronyCon, I created a show specifically to recognize musicians, even though I can't music worth anything, and anybody who's ever met me knows this. But I feel that I should give back because, why not?
Yeah. And Rachel, really quickly, go ahead and say your response to that.
I just wanted to point out that I've actually been doing a lot of research recently about fandom and economy and things like that. And it's actually really interesting that everybody's been saying that they do it to give back, that they do it because they can't do anything else. Because it fundamentally goes back to how fandom functions, which is on the basis of people giving to each other. I don't really want to write a paper out loud right now, though. So I'm just going to say that I think every one of us feels that way on some level because other people have given things to us. We want to give back to them in the best way we're able to.
So I'm going to go ahead and play devil's advocate here. These aren't my personal views, but since you've researched on it, why is working a convention giving back? Isn't that just a giant party?
Well, no. It's not just a giant party.
Like I said, I'm
Screw
being devil's advocate here. That's not my view.
Screw you. I get so mad at you people that I throw things across my bedroom sometimes. This job is that hard and that stressful. This is not just a big party. People cry on the floors of places because we're so swamped with work and so busy.
I know.
It's not a party.
But it's a good cry.
It was a good cry. It was a holy shit, how are we going to fix this? And then we fixed it, and it was great.
Okay, but how is it giving back to a fan community by volunteering for a convention?
They're getting.
Who else is going to do it?
Yeah,
exactly.
How else are we going to make
let me
conventions?
rephrase. What's the importance of conventions? How is it relevant to fan community?
We help bring fans together. That's plain and simple.
Together,
That's what a convention is.
People
it
getting
is important to see each other in person, especially this fandom, which is one of the few fandoms that could really be said to be a real, true internet fandom.
Right.
we were birthed on the internet. We communicate a lot on the internet. It's so important for us to see each other as human beings, and to come together and to make those connections, and to have a place where it's, there's nothing wrong with communicating and having friends online and all of that. But I do feel like you can squeeze like a month's worth of hangout time into a weekend of a convention if you're doing it right.
Yeah.
And that is, it's so important, and especially for a lot of the people who are in the pony fandom, to come to a place where they can see other people who they have something that they have in common. They have something in common with every single person who's there. That they have something they could walk up and talk to somebody about, no matter what. You standing in line, you have, you don't have to pull up your book and sort of, or your tablet or whatever, and keep in your own little world. You have a conversation starter with people, and I feel like that's the importance of conventions in fandom, especially in this one.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, sorry.
Okay, go on.
Well, I mean, this fandom is specifically based around friendship. I mean, that's part of the title of the show that we all watch, and as such, I mean, a great thing about conventions is, if at the very least it's an excuse to see friends. I mean, I know, besides the fact that I'm going to be working it, I'm going to see friends that I've never got to meet in real life before because they're in Australia, Canada, across the country from me. So it's great from that standpoint.
Yeah, and I just want to go ahead and throw in my own personal views here since I was playing devil's advocate. Another important thing, in addition to what everyone has said, is it not as just bringing together the normal fans who just consume the show, but also the content creators. And this fandom especially has just put out an insane amount of artwork, music, fiction, just everything. And when these people get together in these creative circles in person, it just does so much for inspiring to create more. And for people that haven't put that foot forward, when they're able to meet these people that produce content and they don't know how to produce content themselves, they're able to talk with them and feel better about, okay, this is the path I want to go down for giving back to a community. So there's a lot of opportunity that conventions create that wouldn't be there without them. Okay, Josh Dean, I want to pass this question to you because I feel like you're the right man to ask this question to. Would you recommend attending a con before applying?
That's a really interesting question. My answer, we were talking about this a little bit before privately. The answer is no, but maybe yes. It really is. It's all very dependent. Is this your first con you've ever been to? I would probably tell you, go as an attendee and enjoy it. You will thank us for it. If you've done multiple conventions before, and this is your first BronyCon, I would probably still tell you, probably come as an attendee, but if you really feel adamant and you really feel like you want to help, then by all means feel free to apply. But I mean, that's really kind of what it boils down to, isn't it? If you really feel like you have something you either to contribute or that you want to be able to contribute to the greater good of the event, then absolutely apply. My only stipulation, of course, is if you've never been to any convention, definitely come and enjoy the experience.
All right, thank you.
I think Rachel had her hand up like this or something.
Oh, okay. Rachel, I know you do like to comment on a lot.
I do like to comment. I love hearing the sound of my own voice.
We know.
I know you know. BronyCon, working BronyCon, was my first time ever attending a convention like this. So don't be intimidated by what Josh is saying. And if what you really want to do is work for the convention, apply. Just do what feels right for you. I disagree with Josh Dean in a surprising move.
Yeah.
This rarely happens. I don't know what to say. I'm baffled.
I have to agree with Rachel on this one because, likewise, BronyCon was my first attending a convention full time, yeah, I popped into Dragon Con every once in a while, but also, to be fair, if you're a competent individual, then it's not a problem, and you still have fun. Because I'm not gonna lie, I had fun last year.
Yeah. I personally have had more fun working conventions than I have attending conventions, but I'm one of those people that loves to see how things work behind the scenes, and I just love that interaction of seeing the enjoyment that other people have while at an event that I've put a lot of work and dedication into. Okay, just really quick aside, there's some questions about the time dedication for staff, and it's important to note that all staff positions are volunteer. These are unpaid except for the benefits that were mentioned earlier. And so whether your time commitment, is just whatever you can give. We understand real life comes first, and so the time commitment can also vary depending on the department. So I know public relations, you're probably going to be expected to respond much more quickly just because of the nature of the job, whereas something else, you might not have a whole lot until the time of the convention. So just want to get that out there. Going down the line, Josh Dean, why do you...
do have, by the way, Tim, Ziago is in the call. You might want to let him talk about registration
thank you.
a little bit.
I'm sorry, I meant to do that. Yes,
Hello.
we now have our deputy head of registration, so I actually want to go back to a question for you quickly, since you're here. We had tried our best to answer it.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody is applying to registration staff and they have specific panels and events they want to go to, how much of the con are they going to be able to experience? Are they going to be able to work with other people on staff to make sure that they can see the panels and events they want to see?
Yeah, so we're working up like a shift schedule so that hopefully people can request things. Like if there's an event they really want to see, they can like request being off, like not being scheduled during them, so they can go see that. And of course, people won't be working like the entire con anyway. So, like it's not guaranteed, but you're not screwed forever. You can still like hopefully we'll be able to see what you want.
There's a tagline if I've never heard it. BronyCon, you're not screwed forever.
That's a good tagline. And while you're here, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your department.
Oh, well, I am Andrew, but I go by Ziagu, and I am deputy registration. We handle giving attendees badges. So, like, when you come to the con and are like, all right, time to go to the convention, gotta get my badge, that's us. We do all of that. So we give out, like, 8,000, 10,000 badges.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically it. It's like it's not much, but it's really important.
Right. Okay, now, Josh Dean, what is appealing about working conventions to you?
That's a good question, and as we did like 4 or 5 other questions, I thought really hard about it. I guess I'm not gonna lie, I just like it. I don't know. There's something about being able to run, potentially 10, 12, 15,000 person event, managing all of these crazy departments that really does it for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess if I had to really boil it down, it would just be copies of what these guys have said. I mean, everybody has done such a good job of putting it so succinctly. If I had to pick one of those, that's my favorite reason. It's the attendee that walks up to you and says, "This event changed my life." I had that happen a couple of times last year, and it's such a surreal experience having somebody, put that in your mind. That is why I run this event, to change lives. I think that's why all of us do that.
Mm-hmm. And really quickly, we had a question coming in over social media. On Twitter, it was asked, will this video be recorded and posted later? I know that Google Hangouts on Air does automatically record for a YouTube upload. Will we be making this available? Shutter speed, answer that.
Yes, we will.
All right, thank you. Going down the line, Rachel, I'm sure you've been waiting for this. Why do you work conventions?
Have I? I've kind of pitched in on everyone else already, so I've already said my piece.
I
but
know,
I
but
haven't
just
really.
summarize it and add whatever you've left.
Something that I want to add in that actually Josh Dean put pretty well is that I really like helping in general.
Mhm.
I could say that the things I do best, the things I love most are the tiny little things, the backstage things, the things that nobody really ever notices. Just helping anyone that I can. It's about the people who will make a post and be like, "Hey, this girl, she was really glasses when they were broken," or "Hey, this one person that I just randomly bumped into and said sorry and told me that they loved my hat." Like, just the little things that I get to do when I'm at a convention are just what makes it for me. Being able to help people. I love helping people.
All right, thank you for answering
That's kind
that.
of it. Other than all the other stuff I already said, of course.
Of course.
It might be worth adding on top of that. You know, Rachel does a good job of talking about, you know, all the backstage stuff, you know, that the attendee doesn't see. But I mean, the attendee sees 72 hours of BronyCon. But you know, we as a staff put forth almost an entire year's worth of time of being together in order to make this event happen. And you know, we get our own little inside jokes and you know, our own little moments together that allow us to really bond and get together. I think that in and of itself kind of makes it as well.
Yeah, so to summarize that, not to go cliche, but when you join staff for BronyCon, it's like joining a family.
Oh, it totally is joining a family, and most of these people here know that I have time in and time out called this a family.
Mm-hmm. There's a reason I call you Daddy.
Oh Jesus, you call me Daddy. That's right.
Daddy.
That is not a great way to get hired, by the way. He doesn't really like that.
Well, what's more is I don't actually hire you. I hire you guys.
That's true.
And
Yeah.
you know, and then you hire these people who want to apply.
So if you're applying for PR, call him Daddy.
Gonna get you. I swear to.
I take my role as the annoying little sister very, very seriously. Just making sure everyone's aware.
All right, Troy, what do you find appealing about working conventions?
To tell you the truth, ever since I've graduated from college, I have been working some type of event, trying to just get my name out there for experience. And I live in New Orleans, so there's an event every other week down here, if not a major one. And I generally get into some of the big ones, like for instance, we just had the Jazz Heritage Fest, and I'm a big part of that. And it's just the simple fact that I'm always needed to do something, no matter what it is. No matter what it is. So when I got a call from my head, it says, "Hey, I need another staffer. Do you want to help?" I'm like, "Sure, why not? I have no problem. Where is it at?" "Well, it's going to be this." I'm like, "Are you saying that I'm going to help one of the things that I've been following forever?" And it was just all astonishing of, "Hey, you want to help work this convention that we need you?" "Sure, why not?" And overall, at the end of it, it's seeing the end product. You know, mostly walking across the closing ceremonies and see everyone cheer for every single department at the end of the convention. Just to see that little thing right there, all the thank yous and everything else.
Yeah. And you kind of touched on something that I think is also important about experience and career building. I've actually known some people who have worked conventions. They've later on gotten their careers in that, like one of my friends who became a public relations representative for Gibson Guitars because he was working a geek convention. I mean,
even for not things that are directly related to the job that you're doing. Being at a convention shows that you have commitment to volunteer work. If you are anything higher than just sort of staff on the ground, it shows that you've got management experience. it shows that you can get logistical stuff out of it. There's customer service and retail experience. I know that my convention experience is on my resume, and I know a lot of other people whose convention experience is on their resume, and these are resumes for for career building jobs. It's not just people resumes for Starbucks or that kind of thing. That's really are some very widely applicable skill sets that you put to use when you're working a convention. And then you have people you have ready-made references is the other half of that too, because if your boss at a convention doesn't know how you're doing, then they were not paying attention.
Yeah. Thank you. Because I mean running a convention is truly running a business. That's what it is. So you are getting business applicable experience that you can transfer to any career that you want to go into. Andrew, with registration, why do you work conventions? What is appealing about it to you?
Why do I work conventions? Well, way back in 2011, I started my local meetup group, and then it sort of spiraled out of that. And because like a convention is kind of like a big meetup, except totally different, so it makes sense.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here now.
I mean, everyone else has already said all of my reasons, like the sense of giving back to the community and like doing something for people and making something where fans can get together, all that stuff, all that good stuff.
Siagu, the master of the short answer.
Yeah.
Yep. This is something that I probably should have had everyone say during introductions. There was a comment made. I kind of want to open that can of worms really quickly. Just down the line, best pony. Who is it? Andrew.
Mascots or regular ponies?
Regular ponies.
Ah.
Hey, mascots are regular ponies.
Show ponies. Show cannon ponies.
Yeah, show cannon
I
ponies.
correct myself.
Xiagu, kick it off.
I'm gonna go with Rainbow Dash, just because Blue Fast is the best.
All right. Shutter speed.
I have to go with Fluttershy, not for any reason other than that she's the cutest.
All right. Eli.
As every person on ConCom can probably tell you, it's Sweetie Belle.
Sweetie Belle.
Oh.
I'll give you that one.
Yeah,
Jenna.
you will.
Jenna, best pony.
That's a hard one, but I would probably say Rarity. But a close second is Fluttershy.
Right. Jeremy.
Well, Rainbow Dash is definitely number one in my book. Fluttershy is close second.
Okay. Josh Dean, I actually don't know your best pony, so I'm learning something with this one.
You don't, do you?
No.
How's it make you feel not knowing something? I'm just totally delaying answering the question. For me, it's actually a tie between Pinkie Pie and Rainbow Dash. I'm with Xiagu. I like Blue Fast.
Mm-hmm. All right. Rachel, best pony.
Nobody here said Purple Smart, so I feel like I have to defend her, even though Fluttershy's best pony. But I do like Purple Smart. She's pretty awesome, but Fluttershy's best pony.
All right. Troy, best pony.
Going way off tangent with everyone else, the great and powerful Trixie.
You're a cool kid, Troy.
Yeah, well, I'm just totally going to
I don't know about that one.
And say the real question here is, because this is where the fun begins. This is where people break out like the baseball bats. Instead of, best pony, best mascot pony.
Hoofbeats.
You're all wrong.
Hoofbeats.
Main event is my spirit animal.
No,
Dance,
Blank
puppet,
Canvas is the
dance!
best.
I feel like it's important to note that
It's
in the
Blank Canvas.
branding guide, it definitely says that Blank Canvas.
And who wrote the
It's the
branding
best
guide,
best
huh?
I didn't, and
Not
I
me.
agree.
Hold on. Public relations had to approve it, so there you go.
Pegasus
It's Hoofbeats.
are the master race.
Yep.
This kind of conversation, ladies and gentlemen, is
Look.
something that happens a lot more often than you think it does. Not
It
just
really does. This is just a really quick dive into how we interact with each other on staff.
Yeah. I mean,
Doesn't matter.
the best outward-facing answer, of course, is all of our mascots are equally amazing in their own ways. Each of them complement each other in different, unique ways that allow them to interact with each other, very uniquely. Of course,
And it
the
just
real
so
answer,
happens that Hopebeats compliments them all the best.
of course, the real answer that the majority of my staff understands is Hoofbeats is the best mascot.
Yes.
No.
Troy, I'm jealous of you.
I work for Con Store. I cheat.
I didn't
You
actually
stole
answer
them?
the
I bet
who
you
is that.
stole them.
Is that really a thing that you want to tell people live on the air, Troy? I mean, come on.
Yeah, when I steal stuff from the con store, I don't tell people about it.
Yeah.
I never stole them. They're all bought and paid for normally.
And on that, we are taking pre-orders at our swag shop, swag.bronycon.org, for the mascot plushies.
Are we also going to plug
we
the? Are we also going to plug the coffee that's currently sponsoring us?
Wait,
that is
coffee?
Folgers Coffee. Good.
Mm-mm.
I'm
There's
drinking
also-
a cup now.
There's also shirts on the swag shop, I should say.
Yes.
This Q&A session brought to you by Focusrite.
I feel like we
That's-
totally should answer this question that's got like +4 though. It's a really good question for.
Yes.
It's a pretty valid
that is.
question.
Now that we're winding down, let's go ahead and get this question out there. It's not related to staffing, but Jenna,
I
Rachel,
hate this question.
what is the
Me
ETA
too.
on when the
I hate
schedule
this
of panels will be
question.
released?
Well, it's going to be done pretty
It'll be done when
soon.
it's done.
It will be done when it's done, but I don't actually remember when it was up last year, but it was not up yet. It will. I don't know what time it will get on the website. I will have it done before June starts, but I don't know when it gets up on the website. There will be some kind of preliminary one up on the website sometime in June. It may not be the final schedule, but it will be something sometime in June. So
We are doing panel spotlights on social media, though, so you should probably follow us.
yes, check out the panel spotlights. They are really swell. The panelists are writing them themselves, which is exciting this year because they get to tell you all the goodies that they want you to know. So.
So make sure you are following us at BronyCon on Twitter, and we are also known as BronyCon on Tumblr and Facebook.
Echoing.
I'm sorry?
I was telling Jenna and Josh that they were totally echoing. Are they in the
We
same
might
room?
be in the same room, but that's the first time that we've had both of our mics working at the same time. We're
Okay.
totally not in the same room.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And did I hear that right? Did you call them swell?
Yes.
Did you say that? Did you say that they were swell? I'm just saying the 1950s called and they think your terms of phrase are quite dandy.
Swell's a cool word,
They're
Josh.
swell.
I hear she's a pretty hep cat.
My friends used to make fun of me for saying nifty, so happens.
Mhm.
But I can actually answer the question of when it was up on the website last year. It was about mid-June is when we actually did the import and got everything up on the website. I imagine
That's what I thought. But it
probably
changed a
about
lot.
the same time.
I'm hoping for it to not change once we get up on the website. But
Yep.
you can never know anything for certain.
And while we're winding down, I figured let's just go ahead and ask this off-topic question. Do you like Frozen?
Terry,
Actually,
you're asking me that because you just watched it the other day and
I
cried.
know. I did cry.
Frozen's amazing.
I loved it.
Frozen's so good.
Frozen
Um,
is actually
I
really
love it.
interesting because the two people, the team who wrote the songs for Frozen, met at a workshop where one of them had just gotten off of a run from Avenue Q, and the thing that I was struck by from Frozen, sorry, I'm going to completely geek out on this question, take it way too seriously, as is my want, is that it's really interesting that Frozen songs are totally a byproduct of the modern musical scene. They sound like musical theater songs from the last 10 years, which is not necessarily something that Disney musical songs styles track. But the music composition and the vocal arrangements are right down that alley, and it's not just because it's Idina Menzel rocking
But that
Ronettes. It does help, lend a certain timbre, but the kinds of rhythms and the kinds of structures of the songs are very last 10 years of Broadway. And that was one of the things that struck me about watching Frozen. And yes, of course, also it was a cool, fun, awesome movie.
I don't know. Part
Am
of
I
me
allowed to
didn't
swear
like
on
it.
here?
No.
Part of me didn't like it, but then I let
Rabbi,
it
you are
go.
a huge freaking nerd.
I already swore. Whoops,
Guilty
sorry.
as charged.
Well,
Yeah.
shit. My favorite part, I mean, Frozen of itself is a really awesome movie, but something most of my staff doesn't really know is I'm a huge Prince junkie. Love me some Prince. And I found out the other day that apparently Prince influenced the song "Let It Go." It was actually partially based off of a 1994 single titled "Let It Go." The two writers of the song took it to Prince to get his opinion, and at the time they were trying to figure out how to end it, and they went to him for advice. And when he read it, he said to them, "This song is really amazing. I can relate to it, but then again, I'm from Minneapolis, and the cold never bothered me anyway." And that's how they got their last line.
All right. Now, we did have an important question come in. We kind of answered it for registration, but not generally. So, Josh Dean, last word of the night. If you work staff, are you still able to see the VA/musician panels, the vendor hall, and Brony Palooza?
I mean, the real answer is maybe. Can you see all of them? It really kind of depends on your shift and what you're working. If you're working security, you might be able to be working, some of that stuff. Really, that's it. It's really just maybe whether or not you're shifted to allow you to see certain things at certain times. You'll definitely see some of the convention, but that's kind of the curse of working the convention. You're not necessarily going to see everything. But you're going to have the self-satisfaction of helping run it.
All right, thank you. And thank you for all of our listeners for coming out tonight, asking questions, and engaging with us for some silliness as well as some serious topics about why you should join staff. Please go to bronycon.org/staff to apply or check departments that you might be interested in. And so with that, good night. Can I get all the panelists? Thank you very much for coming out, spending your time. On the count of 3 to just say a quick good night. 1, 2, 3.
Night.
Good night.
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 I hope to work with some of you.
I'm not going to bed though. Why are we saying good night?
That's
Well,
my question.
Because
Goodbye.
it's a sign-off.
Goodbye.
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 Sleep isn't real,
Goodbye.
guys.
Goodbye.